Welcome to Deep World Updates. Please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for more updates. Tonight, we journey to Southeast Asia, where the Philippines stands at a pivotal crossroads, caught between energy dependence and the promise of self-sufficiency. Headlines flash, Manila pushes back, and trillion-dollar reserves at stake. For decades, the Philippines has imported nearly all its fuel, leaving its economy exposed to global price shocks. But deep beneath the South China Sea lies a potential fortune, energy reserves that could transform the nation's future. The air in Manila is thick with anticipation. The talk is of energy independence, national sovereignty, and a possible economic boom. Yet, this is no simple tale of discovery. The same waters that hold this wealth are a flashpoint for international conflict. China's sweeping claims over the South China Sea create a dangerous, unpredictable environment. The question, can the Philippines finally tap its own resources? This is about more than energy. It's about national identity and self-determination. Imagine a nation forced to buy expensive fuel while sitting atop a potential fortune. That paradox has defined the Philippines for generations. Now, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. is signaling a major shift, pushing for exploration and alliances to protect the country's rights. The world is watching, as decisions made now could set the Philippines on a path to prosperity, or keep it locked in dependence and conflict. The stakes: stable energy, a stronger economy, and national security. But the risks are immense, with a global superpower looming over the horizon. This is a high-stakes drama of geology, economics, and geopolitics. The outcome will ripple far beyond the archipelago. Tonight, we unpack what's truly at stake. President Marcos Jr. has laid out a bold vision: the Philippines must break free from energy dependence. He calls for exploration and development of domestic oil and gas reserves, declaring energy security as the bedrock of national progress. For years, the country watched neighbors like Malaysia and Indonesia thrive on their own resources, while Manila spent billions on imports. Now, the administration is reviving dormant exploration contracts and courting new investors. The centerpiece, the Malampaya gas field, which has powered Luzon for decades but is running dry. Finding a new Malampaya is urgent. Without it, the country faces higher electricity costs and deeper reliance on imports. This is about more than keeping the lights on. It's about sovereignty. Marcos asserts the Philippines' right to explore its own exclusive economic zone, directly challenging China's expansive claims. By championing new discoveries, he's defending both economic destiny and territorial integrity. The success or failure of this gambit will define the nation for decades. The stakes are high and the clock is ticking. The world is watching to see if the Philippines can finally unlock its buried treasure. The outcome will shape the country's future. The Philippines is a nation of over 115 million, with a booming economy and a growing hunger for energy. Yet, it produces less than 1% of the oil it consumes, relying almost entirely on imports. Every day, tankers bring in fuel from abroad, making the economy vulnerable to global price swings and supply disruptions. When oil prices spike, Filipinos feel it instantly, at the pump, in electricity bills, and in daily expenses. Businesses struggle with high costs, and families are forced to cut back on essentials. This dependence creates a cycle of vulnerability, stifling growth and job creation. The numbers are stark: hundreds of thousands of barrels consumed daily, but only a fraction produced at home. Closing this gap is not just economic. It's a matter of national survival. Without energy security, the country's ambitions remain on shaky ground. The government's desperate search for a solution leads directly to the contested waters of the South China Sea. The stakes: prosperity or continued dependence. The time for action is now. Beneath the crisis lies a staggering secret. The Philippines sits atop colossal reserves of oil and natural gas. The Reed Bank alone could hold over 5 billion barrels of oil and 55 trillion cubic feet of gas, worth trillions of dollars. Most of these riches lie in the West Philippine Sea, overlapping with China's sweeping claims. The potential is mapped and identified, but remains untapped. The main obstacle isn't technology or will, it's geopolitics. The most promising reserves are in fiercely contested waters, where any drilling attempt risks confrontation with China. Companies are unwilling to risk billions in such a volatile environment. The treasure is visible, but guarded by a dragon. For years, exploration contracts have been suspended due to escalating risks. The key to unlocking this wealth lies not in drilling, but in diplomacy and defense. The prize is real, but so are the dangers. The greatest obstacle to energy independence isn't underground, it's China's sweeping claims over the South China Sea. In 2016, an international tribunal ruled in favor of the Philippines, but Beijing rejected the decision and intensified its presence. Chinese Coast Guard and naval ships now patrol the contested waters, making legal rights meaningless without the power to enforce them. This is chilled energy exploration. No company will risk billion-dollar assets in a conflict zone. Service contracts remain frozen, and companies like PXP Energy are stuck in limbo. The dragon in the water has effectively blockaded the Philippines' economic future. The region's immense promise is trapped in a zone of perpetual conflict. Legal victories mean little without security. The Philippines faces a daunting challenge: how to turn rights into reality. The world is watching for a breakthrough. The risks in the West Philippine Sea are real and dangerous. Chinese Coast Guard ships have used water cannons and aggressive maneuvers against Philippine vessels, sending a clear message: this is a conflict zone. Such incidents devastate investment confidence. No company will risk assets or lives in these waters. Filipino fishermen face daily harassment, their plight a microcosm of the national struggle. If the country can't protect its own fishermen, how can it secure billion-dollar energy projects? Each incident erodes sovereignty and morale. Until the security environment changes, energy independence remains a distant dream. The standoff at sea is a daily reminder of the immense challenge ahead. The Marcos administration is fighting back with a bold diplomatic strategy. At its core, revitalizing the alliance with the United States, expanding military cooperation, and sending a clear signal to Beijing. Joint patrols and exercises aim to deter aggression and make the waters safer for exploration. The Philippines is also deepening ties with Japan, forming a trilateral alliance to amplify diplomatic pressure on China. This coalition provides a security umbrella, giving investors renewed confidence. The government has lifted the moratorium on exploration, signaling determination to proceed. The strategy builds a formidable diplomatic shield and aggressively push for development. It's a calculated risk, but one the nation is willing to take. The goal turns legal victories into real gains. If the Philippines unlocks its energy wealth, the transformation would be revolutionary. Billions now spent on imports could fund infrastructure, healthcare, and education. A domestic oil and gas industry would create tens of thousands of skilled jobs, fueling growth across the economy. Lower energy costs would mean more disposable income for families and lower prices for goods. Millions could be lifted into the middle class, creating a more equitable society. Energy independence would insulate the country from global shocks and attract foreign investment. The Philippines could even become a net energy exporter, boosting its regional influence. This is a shift from vulnerability to strength, a rewriting of the nation's destiny. The stakes could not be higher. Today, the Philippines stands at a historic crossroads. One path leads to transformation, energy independence, new jobs, and national pride. The other is shadowed by indecision and external pressure, where resources remain locked away and dependence persists. The debate is generational. Older Filipinos see energy as the way forward, while the youth worry about the climate crisis. Can the nation balance urgent needs with environmental responsibility? Will new alliances deter aggression and create a secure environment for investment? The final question remains: will the Philippines seize its energy destiny or let the opportunity slip away? The world is watching. The decision will echo for a century. The future is in the nation's hands.